On behalf of New Zealand, I want to apologise to Grace's family. Your daughter should have been safe here, and she wasn't, and I'm sorry for that.
Auckland, New Zealand. A city alive with summer warmth, tourists filling the streets, and one young British woman making the most of what was supposed to be the adventure of a lifetime. Grace Millane was 22 years old. She had just graduated from the University of Lincoln with a marketing degree, and like so many young people her age, she packed her bags and set off to see the world. New Zealand was part of a bigger journey South America. Then here, soaking in new places, new experiences, new people. By every account, Grace was warm, full of life, and deeply loved by her family back home in Essex, England. But on the night of December 1st, the eve of her 23rd birthday, Grace went on a Tinder date in Auckland city center. She met a man named Jesse Kempson. The two visited bars near Sky City Casino, and later that night, CCTV cameras captured them walking together into the CityLife Hotel. Grace Millane never walked back out. Her family back in England waited. They called. They messaged. Nothing. When Grace missed contact on her birthday, December 2nd, the alarm bells became impossible to ignore. Her father, David Millane, flew from England to New Zealand, stood in front of cameras with grief written across his face, and begged for anyone with information to come forward. What followed was an investigation that would shock two nations, expose a man hiding behind a carefully constructed mask, and force an entire country to reckon with the violence women face behind closed doors. This is a case of Grace Millane, and what happened inside room 308 of the CityLife Hotel is something that, once you hear it, you will not forget. Stay with us.
At this point, in early December last year, police are conducting a missing persons inquiry, not a murder investigation.
We're speaking to you in relation to the disappearance of Grace Millane. Okay.
In footage shown in court today, they questioned the man now accused of Grace Millane's murder. He gives his story.
That's you walking in with a suitcase at 8:14.
Yep, I've still got that suitcase in my room. And you guys can have it, if that's what you're assuming.
You haven't told the truth about being completely drunk on Saturday night.
Maybe I got the times wrong as to when I woke up, but I'm telling you, that bag is still in my room.
What's in it?
Nothing.
What did you buy it for?
To move all of my stuff out of my room.
Did you kill Grace Millane? Okay. Jesse Kempson, you're under arrest for the murder of Grace Millane.
The British backpacker went missing on the eve of her 22nd birthday in December 2018. A week later, the man she'd been on a Tinder date with that night, Jesse Shane Kempson, was arrested for her murder. In his first interview with Detective Ewan Settle 2 days earlier, he lied about what had happened.
How did the evening pan out?
Yeah, pretty good.
But the investigation team was already closing in on the then 26-year-old.
We actually don't know if she's been murdered or not yet. She may be alive and well.
Okay.
But she might also be dead. Okay? And it could be that you've done it.
Moments later, after being left alone in the interview room,
Hey, I just want to ask a question. Am I being arrested for something I didn't do?
You haven't been arrested, mate.
I was like, holy shit. Okay.
brought into the Auckland Central Police Station a second time, Jesse Kempson changed his story.
You've indicated that you're willing to speak to us about the events of last Saturday. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me what happened last Saturday.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
At his 3-week trial in the High Court in Auckland late last year, the jury watched CCTV footage of Jesse Kempson and Grace Millane. Prosecutor Robin McCoubrey asked Detective Adam Bicknell how much footage the police gathered.
The amount of CCTV that was collected in total was, I think, just short of 6 terabytes worth of data, which was a significant amount. Majority of that came from CityLife Hotel.
So taking that as an example, what sort of
period, and how many cameras were you looking at for CityLife Motel?
I believe CityLife Hotel had 14 cameras. It recorded 24 hours a day, and we retrieved, I think it was 6 days worth of footage.
As well as footage from the CityLife Hotel, the police were able to access CCTV cameras at the bars the pair went to, as well as cameras on the street.
Were you able to trace Ms Millane and the defendant's path on the night of the 1st of December, firstly, and then in the subsequent days?
Yes.
And so you were able, we're going to look at it in two halves during the trial, but you were able to trace where Ms Millane and the defendant went up until about 9:40 on the Saturday, is that correct, when they entered the CityLife Hotel?
Yes.
The CCTV footage shows Ms Millane leaving base Backpackers, where she was staying, and then arriving at Sky City.
On the screen there at about 5:43 p.m, do we see Ms Millane walking along Federal Street away from the camera?
Yes.
The footage shows Ms Millane standing near some large Christmas trees set up near the Sky Tower. There are other people milling around, and at one point Ms Millane is seen using her phone. The jury heard yesterday that the last message she sent her family in the UK was a picture of the Christmas trees from that spot.
There was what seems to be a speaker or something, or a light or something in the bottom of the screen in the middle, and then there's a gentleman in a high-vis jacket, and between those two, that's Ms Millane.
It then shows the accused in a blue jacket walking over to meet Grace Millane and giving her a hug. The pair headed into Sky City, up the escalators and into Andy's Burgers and Bar on the first floor. They bought drinks and found a table. As part of their investigation, the police collected receipts from the places Ms Millane and the defendant went. Robin McCoubry detailed what they bought.
There seemed to be a number of cocktails on both tickets. Cuervo, is that tequila?
My understanding is yes.
And then a number of, as I say, cocktails on the top receipt, 7 in total and 2 on the bottom receipt.
Ms Millane and the accused left Sky City and headed to the Mexican cafe, where they continued to drink heavily, buying jugs of margarita and sangria. They departed at about 8:30 and CCTV cameras filmed them walking through the CBD to the Bluestone room. There, they settled in at a small table and ordered more drinks, beer, cider and tequila shots. The bar was busy and the pair kissed a number of times.
Seen the timestamp there, about 8:50 p.m.
Yes.
Again, the two of them kissing. So, Detective, this is about 3 hours after they met at Sky City, is that accurate?
Yes.
At one point, the accused pulled Ms Millane closer by putting his arm around her shoulders. When the accused disappears from view, Ms Millane can be seen using her phone. And when Ms Millane is out of shot, he can be seen picking up and looking through her bag. They then left together and headed back to the man's apartment at the CityLife Hotel. He had his arm around Ms Millane as they walked through the lobby and into the lift. That was at 9:40 on the night of December the 1st, and it was the last time Ms Millane was seen. During the date, the jury heard that Grace Millane was messaging one of her best friends, Amina Ashcroft, via Facebook. Her evidence was read to the court by Crown Prosecutor Latia Tuibererevu. Ms Ashcroft said Ms Millane told her the man she was on a date with was a manager at an oil company. Ms Millane messaged that he had an apartment in a hotel, to which her friend replied,
"You have to go to his apartment in the hotel. Then bet it's like the top floor."
And Grace Millane summed up her date to Ms Ashcroft with this message.
"Literally, I click with him so well. Then at 11:59 a.m, I will let you know what happens tomorrow."
Amina Ashcroft said Ms Millane seemed drunk but happy, and she didn't have any concerns for her safety. Mo te hōtaka o te ahi, ko Sarah Robson, aho. Their Tinder date in central Auckland. Bar hopping, drinking and eventually kissing. They went back to Kempson's apartment at the CityLife Hotel, walking into the lobby together, Kempson's arm around Ms Millane's shoulders, the last time she was seen alive. The Crown said Kempson strangled Ms Millane to death, but the defence argued her death was an accident during consensual rough sex. CCTV footage from the following morning showed Kempson buying a suitcase and cleaning products, hiring a carpet cleaning machine, picking up a rental car and driving out to West Auckland to buy a shovel. Kempson said he panicked, putting her body in a suitcase and burying it in a shallow grave in the Waitakere Ranges, but the jury didn't believe him.
Do you find the defendant, Jessie Shane Kempson, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
In February, Jessie Kempson was jailed for life with a minimum non-parole period of 17 years. At Kempson's sentencing, Grace Millane's mother Gillian delivered her victim impact statement to the court via audio-visual link from her home in England.
On a daily basis, I torment myself over what you did to my Grace. The terror and pain she must have experienced at your hands. As a mother, I would have done anything to change places with her. I sit full of guilt, knowing I couldn't help her, but I should have been there. She died terrified and alone in a room with you.
After the sentencing, the detective inspector who led the investigation into Grace Millane's disappearance, Scott Beard, told Checkpoint he thought it was inevitable Jessie Kempson would kill someone.
I've always thought that if it wasn't Grace, it was going to be someone. Now, I'm not a psychologist, so I can't talk about psychological profile, but what we do know is he's a liar. You know, a number of times we proved he lied to the police, he lied to others.
The lapsing of name suppression means it can now be revealed Jessie Kempson had other victims, women he'd abused before he met Grace Millane. Kempson was convicted of a raft of sexual violation offences after 2 judge-alone trials in the High Court at Auckland in October and November this year. One woman, an ex-girlfriend, went to the police and told them he had subjected her to sustained and escalating physical, sexual, emotional and financial abuse. When her case went to trial, she said her heart dropped when she saw the first blurred images of Kempson on the news. She said she felt guilty about Millane's death.
I didn't want to bring up my past again, but I also wanted the truth to be out about who Jessie is and the pattern of behaviour and how this whole thing could have been avoided. It really could have.
Jessie Kempson was found guilty of 8 charges relating to that woman, including 2 of sexual violation and 1 of threatening to kill, and jailed for 7.5 years. At the other trial, he was found guilty of raping another woman he'd met on Tinder in a motel. When the verdict was delivered, Kempson lashed out at Justice Venning.
Full of shit, mate. You have no reason to convict me. You're full of shit.
When Kempson was sentenced a few weeks later to 3.5 years in jail, Justice Venning had this to say.
It's apparent from your response to the verdict of the court you do not accept the offending and you have no remorse or insight into it.
Justice Venning also cited a cultural report about Jessie Kempson that was submitted to the court by his lawyer. He said while it was difficult to see any link between Kempson's disconnection from his culture and his offending, it offered insights into his troubled upbringing.
Your parents separated when you were 3 years old. Your father was at times violent towards you, although I note he has now written in support of you. Your mother rejected you. That may go some way towards explaining your attitude towards women.
Jessie Kempson is appealing his conviction and sentence in both sexual violation cases. His bid to overturn his conviction and sentence for murdering Grace Millane was rejected by the Court of Appeal last week. He has already indicated he's likely to appeal that to the Supreme Court. Mo te hōtaka o te ahi, ko Sarah Robson, aho.
This is the CCTV footage that contradicted his account, the prosecution said today. It shows the accused, a 27-year-old man who cannot be named for legal reasons, the day following Miss Millane's death. He has pleaded not guilty to her murder saying she died as the result of a consensual sex act gone wrong. In the footage, the defendant visits the shop just after 8 a.m. on Sunday morning and buys a large suitcase with wheels. After taking it back to the hotel where he was living, he goes to a general store and buys cleaning products, then back again to his room. 2 hours later, the prosecution said, he goes to a car rental store where he hires a small red hatchback. The next footage is from the afternoon that day. It shows the accused arriving at a bar for a date, arranged through Tinder. Grace Millane's body is still in his room. In court today, that woman, who cannot be named, gave her testimony. She said that, during their 2-hour date, the accused told her, police dogs can't smell bodies that are buried more than 4 feet in the ground. Later that evening, the defendant fetches a trolley from hotel reception and takes it back to his room. He returns with 2 suitcases loaded on it. One of them contained Miss Millane's naked body, forced into a fetal position, he has since admitted. The next morning, he buried the case in woodland outside Auckland city centre, the prosecution said. A week later, it was discovered by police. Grace Millane's parents have been present every day of this trial. As the sequence of events was outlined today, they wept gently. The trial continues. Tom Cheshire, Sky News.
Jesse Kempson stood in that courtroom in November 2019 and was found guilty of murder. The jury did not believe his claim that Grace's death was an accident. The forensic evidence told the truth. He tried to bury strangulation that lasted between 4 and 5 minutes. It is not a moment of panic. It is a choice. He was sentenced to life in prison, with a minimum of 17 years, before he could be considered for a parole. And as more came to light about who Jesse Kempson truly was, the picture became even darker. He had prior convictions for rape and abuse against other women offenses that earned him an additional 11 concurrent years. Grace was not his first victim. She was simply the one the world came to know. Back in England, the Millane family refused to let Grace be remembered only as a headline. They launched the Love Grace Foundation, channeling their pain into purpose, advocating for women's safety and keeping Grace's memory alive in the most meaningful way they could. New Zealand's then Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, issued a public apology to Grace's family on behalf of the country.
On behalf of New Zealand, I want to apologise to Grace's family. Your daughter should have been safe here, and she wasn't, and I'm sorry for that.
An acknowledgement that what happened to Grace was not just a tragedy, but a failure that demanded a national response. Here's what this case makes clear. Grace Millane did nothing wrong. She was a young woman living her life, taking the kind of chances that thousands of people take every single day. The responsibility for what happened in room 308 belongs entirely to one person, Jesse Kempson. Her name deserves to be spoken with care. Her life deserved more than 22 years. If this story moved you, please like this video and share it so that Grace's name continues to be heard. Subscribe to True Crime Tower for more cases covered with the depth and respect they deserve, and drop a comment below telling us what case you think we should cover next. Grace Millane. Remember her name.